Hi everyone, my name is Maria and welcome to my YouTube channel. And my guest today is immigration adaptation coach, and she's also helping with career crisis. Welcome, Kristina. Really glad to have you here.
Hi, Maria. Well, thank you very much for inviting me for this podcast. And I know it's your very first podcast, so I'm honored to be here.
Thank you so much. Can you share your personal immigration story with us?
Oh, God, this is a long story, but hopefully interesting. So I was born in Siberia and I moved abroad in the very early years when I was only 17. I went to China to study a bachelor there. And that was very exciting. It was young people, and thanks for my parents who cover all the financial expenses. I didn't really have a lot of trouble. Then I went to Japan as an exchange student. And oh my God, I fell in love with that country. When I was in Japan, I told myself, as soon as I graduate, I move to Japan. Like, really? I'm going to live forever in Japan. That's my country. So I did graduate in China. And I did move to Japan, but at that time I had no support from my parents. So that was my first experience when I actually, faced all the difficulty of being immigrants. I had to solve my visa. I had to find the funding. I had to find a job. I have to deal with all the bureaucracy, and I knew that I couldn't count on anyone. I lived a few years in Japan, get a job, and the job offered me to move to Moscow. Mm-hmm. Not an immigration, but I still a big, move to, my country, but a new city for me. Mm-hmm. And then, we come into it. After several years, I came to UK. I came to UK where I'm now living for 10 years. So as you can see, I have a very diverse experience of living in a different country and also in a different position, mm-hmm. like being a student, being a very young person without a real career, and come to UK already like a professional.
And what did inspire you to become the immigration adaptation coach?
So, although I moved to all this country, I really enjoy living in them. There were some challenges, but I never felt like, oh my God, it's so difficult, or I don't know, I regret moving here, or it's unbearable. But what I noticed, I started meeting a lot of people who are really struggling. And that's when I thought, like, maybe that is my superpower. Maybe I can adapt in a different country. Maybe I know how to deal with all these difficulties. And I, anyway, wanted to become a coach. I did all my study, and I had to choose, the specialty. And I thought, well, if I can do it so easily, I want to help people.
And what does the coach actually do? And what is the difference between the coach and the therapist?
So the first of all, the coaching does not heal in your past. We are not working through trauma. The coaching is future-orientated, and it's a goal-orientated. We're always looking, for a future, what you want to achieve, what action you have to do in order to improve your life. So this is a quite big difference between coaching and therapy. And as an adaptation coach, I helping people actually go through the adaptation process. Mm-hmm. I'm working with the people who moved to UK quite recently, and they need to adjust to the new country. They need to deal with all these emotional difficulties, people losing their identity, people facing a culture shock, like language barriers. I'm helping them not to only build the new routine, but also to start feel happy, feel confident.
I wish I met you like 12 years ago when I moved to the UK, to be honest with you. That would be so helpful, because I had to face everything just by myself. And what are the most common emotional challenges that people face during the immigration?
Let me think. I think definitely the number one would be loneliness. I mean, even if you dream about moving the new country and you're happy about your choice, but you're most likely leaving behind your parents, your friends, the routine, I don't know, the little things you really love. And yeah, it's very natural if people start feeling lonely, even when they're moving as a families. But the second one, I would say identity crisis. So what I mean by identity crisis is it's maybe easier with examples. So let's say a couple moving together and they're moving because, let's say, husband get a job opportunity. So the wife is following him. But probably back in her country, she had a career. So she was a respectful professional. She was a daughter. She looked after her parents, maybe. She knew who she is. She had a friends. So she was like, like someone. She was a person. And now she moved to this country. And who is she? And then she's meeting all these, language barrier. The language barrier is strictly speaking, is not an emotional challenges, but it leads to emotional challenges. The people speak very good language, very good English, like good enough, but they start thinking less of themselves. They start comparing themselves to
others,
like to native speakers. And it's like, I'm not as good as a native. That means I'm not good. And they start feel emotionally like something wrong with me. I'm not good. I cannot succeed here. So, yeah, those are probably the most common challenges.
I would love to add actually here, because when I moved to the UK 12 years ago, I moved as a student. And I think I was really lucky to move as a student because you have your group of friends. You don't really think about immigration as such because you just think about your studies and like you think how you're going to enjoy your time in university and how you're going to have fun with your friends. And but you don't really feel this emotional challenge of actually changing the country. But of course, like you were saying, if you're moving at some point of your life where you're already an established person with your real background somewhere else, it must be hitting someone really badly. And it's amazing what you do if you help people in this sort of situation. It's just amazing. Absolutely.
Yeah. I do work occasionally, not that much, but sometimes, for example, now I have a client who is a graduate student. And actually it's interesting because, she spent the last 3 years being a bachelor student here, and she exactly, as you said, enjoy her life here. And it's coming after 3 years, suddenly she realized, I need to find a job. And
what
when you start facing a real difficult, challenges in life, you need to find. And interesting, she has been living here for 3 years, but she only now start having all this emotional difficulty and say, "Oh my God, I'm not one of them. I'm not as good when I go to interview. I will never find a job." So it's not always about the people who just move to the country. Sometimes you can live here for a few years, but it's about what is your circumstances.
That's right. Actually, while we're on this work topic, how is it different? How are the challenges different in comparison to if you work at your own country or if you work somewhere abroad? What could be the challenges?
Oh, wow. Where shall I start? Well, I already said about the language barrier. Yeah. That is number one. The way of communication. So it's very interesting. So some countries are much more direct speakers. I would say Russian, I'm very direct. And believe me, I have 5 years in a relationship and my husband still sometimes say to me, "You're so rude." I was like, I didn't mean to be rude, And
your husband, he's
British.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and imagine this is in a work environment. So you're not meant to be rude, but people perceive you as a rude person. Like, what sort of career you can build there? I'm working in a Japanese company, and the Japanese people cannot say no.
Oh, really?
They're really struggling to say no. Even if they're working already as a team members for 5-10 years, that we know each other very well, they still will never say no. They just don't have it. They have a word no, they never use it.
Wow.
So they would say, we'll think about it. Let's discuss it later. So in the beginning of my career, I always thought, oh, okay, yeah, we will think about it. But in the end, you just know. And oh my God, I could have achieved much more if I knew this from the beginning, because I was chasing. One of the common things is, in Europe, when you have a meeting, it's very important to participate. Participate not just to literally come and see it, but to actually be active. You need to express your opinion.
To be vocal, right?
To be vocal, yeah. And say something. Say, I agree with this, I disagree with it. Say whatever you think. Well, some country wouldn't say that, and that would... Surprisingly, that would stop them from progressing in their career, because the manager would seem like them, they're not active, they don't have their opinion. But those things are actual, like a practice. It's not really what we do in coaching. What we do in coaching, we're working with emotions, we're working with with the confidence. But it's interesting because all these things are related to how people feel.
Right.
All these things, like even understanding the culture is different. If people say something to you in a straight way, you should be strong enough emotionally to understand this is a different culture. This is nothing about people get mad with you. You need to be confident enough. You need to, tolerate it.
Okay.
You shouldn't take everything personally. And this is what we're talking at the coaching, like who you are, what is your goal, why so much upset you, are you agile enough? If you understand there is culture difference, can you adopt? What's stopping you from adopting? All this stuff.
And in general, the coaching session, how do you manage them? Do you have several sessions, or just one big session? What's the approach that you have?
So I always sell it as a package. The minimum number of sessions is 4. So it's 1 month's work. We're meeting once a week for 1 hour. And because the coaching is goal-orientated, so in the very beginning, we always setting a goal. We're always talking about what that person wants to achieve. As a bigger picture, okay, what's your goal for the next 5 years?
Okay,
we understand that. So then what is your goal for now? If you want to be a CEO in this company, so what do you need to, what you're lacking now, what you need to do? And then it could be a completely different person. Somebody would say, I need to actually think about the strategy. But another person would say, I need to work on my confidence. So then we will come up with the topics that we need to work. And for each coach session, we will have a goal. So within this 1 hour, what we want to achieve, what sort of clarity you want to have, what sort of emotion you want to feel in the end, how do you want to feel, if it's a plan, how your plan should look like, what is a plan for you. So it's always goal-orientated. We're always coming to the result.
Right. And if, for example, we do a bit of a coaching session for me right now, can we do that? So just very shortly, obviously. So let's say my goal is to have a podcast that is as successful as Steve Bartlett's, for example. So could that be the goal? Is it enough articulated as a goal, or what should I do about it? I want to be there, but how do I get there?
Yeah. So first of all, probably should talk about so what is successful podcast for you? How many viewers you want to see, okay, what sort of podcast you want, what sort of topics you want to cover, by when, because it's very important to understand timelines.
Right.
So we will go through the SMART goals, and then we will talk about what will change in your life. We want to find what motivates you.
Okay.
Because sometimes people say, I want this. And when you're starting to ask, so when you get this, what's changing your life? And they say, well, nothing changed in my life.
So what's the point then, right?
What's the point?
Okay.
Because if you do not really strong need, then most likely we'll give up. So we will try to find out what is the need behind. Then we will talk about, what's stopping you from doing it now? And then you might say, well, actually, I'm a little nervous about that or that, or, I want to reach that person, but he's too high I think he's too high for me. And then we will talk about like, why do you think he's too high? Like, what helped you to try? So we will build.
Amazing.
But that is a great goal. That is a great goal.
Good. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. I really enjoyed it, actually. Well, coming back to my questions, I actually have another question for you. And it's really about, do immigrants approach career risks differently than non-immigrants, basically?
I think I can ask the same question to you.
That's
You're
true.
an immigrant. Tell me.
That's true.
Yeah. I think certainly they do approach it differently. I mean, when you're in your own country, you probably feel much more secured. Quite often, those immigrants that I'm working with, they came here with a visa condition, and those visas are related to their job. So that's mean for them, they sometimes even not as bold as their career because they're afraid. What if their manager is not happy? Because for them, it's not just losing a job. For them, it's leaving the country. Or maybe it's not easy to find, or maybe they want to start their own business, but they came here with General 2 or Tier 2 visa.
Tier 2.
Tier 2 visa,
Tier 2, yeah.
So they have to work for this company. They cannot just simply become an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So of course there is a lot of, fares. They cannot simply maybe take a loan from the government if they want to start their own business. There's a lot of limitation and a lot of fares coming and accountability coming because of that. But on the other hand, on the positive side, let's not talk. I found out that quite often immigrants are much more bold. They're much more, what the word would be, like aggressive in the positive way, because they already move a country. That requires a lot of courage.
That's true.
They have a lot of the skills, like adaptability, flexibility, so they're more likely to succeed.
That's actually, I have never thought about it because you're overcoming the barriers, the obstacles that you have, and you're really fighting in a way, isn't it? Yeah, even just thinking about myself, when I came here to study, then I found the internship. I knew that I would love to stay here. I would love to work. And you just do everything in your power to get there. And you talk to people, you go to networking event, you talk to your friends asking do you know if there is job here, there, etc. It's really, you're so motivated. Sometimes people who are not immigrants, they really take for granted what they have. And when you're an immigrant, you really have to fight and not to be scared and really to be brave. Yeah. That's so true.
We become unstoppable.
Yeah.
See the goal, see no barrier. It's quite often the case.
That's so true. That's so true. And actually, you mentioned that you've been living in Asia for so many years, right? And then right now, UK. What's the difference? How you feel the cultural difference? Right now?
That was one of the reasons why I left Japan.
Okay.
One of the main reasons. The Japanese, many Asian countries like China as well, doesn't matter, Korea, for example. So most of the Asian countries, they're quite close culturally.
In terms of community, do you mean?
In terms of community, they're not as open-minded, they're not tolerated. They're always in their mindset, even, you always will be a foreigner. You always will be the foreigner. And I'll speak good Japanese and speak good Chinese, but each time there would be, sometimes the Chinese people would not even understand that I speak Chinese.
No
so
way.
In their mind, foreigner cannot speak Chinese. Right. So I'm trying to speak to them, and they reply, don't understand foreign language, don't understand foreign language.
No way.
And I have to listen to me, I'm speaking to you in your language. So they always see you as a foreigner, you're always different. They do not have that many foreigners living there. And
in China?
In China,
or in Japan, both.
Korea, all of these countries.
Okay.
There are not that many foreigners. So when you're on the street, Well, nowadays Japan have a boom of tourism, so
Okay.
they probably will see you one of the tourists. But when I lived there was not that many tourists,
Okay.
and you always see yourself the only one foreigner among all these, Asian people.
Okay.
And although sometimes this may feel cool, most of the times it's very stressful.
Really? Why?
Because you always feel I'm not fit in, I'm different.
okay.
Very small examples, but you should understand me as a lady. In Japan, well, now I put 10 kilos, but before that, my size was XS.
Okay.
And in Japan, I was always L or XL.
No way.
So I remember the day when I came, I think Moscow, and I went to a shop and they say, "What's your size?" I said, "Oh, I'm XL." And she looked at me and said, "You're not XL." So that's sort of, challenges you meet in there. You're bigger than them. You have completely different culture. You're speaking differently. You look differently. It's not as pleasant. It's stressful.
Do you feel easier here than in the UK?
Oh, so much, especially in London.
Okay.
I mean, of course, when you go outside,
Yeah.
for example, my partner from Warrington, which is down between Manchester and Liverpool, there are almost no foreigners. But okay, I go there and they're all locals and they're looking a little bit like where you're coming from. But here, people will never almost ask where you're coming from. People just,
That's true.
they just get used to this, a mix of the accent.
Everyone is from somewhere here.
Yeah. So you just one of many,
Millions.
of millions.
That's true.
People don't see your accent. People don't care that you have a little bit of. They're very tolerant. Very get used to it.
Yeah.
It's comforting. Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely, 100% here with you. I think London particularly, I can't talk about the UK in general because I have never lived anywhere but from London. But London is a tolerant place where you feel comfortable to be a foreigner. And this is amazing, really, because when I moved here, I was 21. I was a kid in a way. 21, you're still a kid. And I was thinking, how would they approach me? How would they see me? Because I'm totally different. I'm speaking with the accent, and I don't know the street where to go, where my university was. How would I ask the question to where is my uni? Where's the street, etc. But I was really scared even of those simple things. And but once I got here, I figured out that it's actually not that scary. People talk to you on the street. They're happy to help you, actually. And once I've noticed one situation on the street, there was the guy who has fallen off on the street. I think he's broken a leg or something. And he was just there on the pavement. And there was a group of people who were holding the umbrella above him. Yeah. I'm like, and because it was raining, I was like, wow, really? People do support each other here like this? It's quite unique to see this sort of situations because for me as a foreigner, you might feel as an outsider because you're different and it might hitting you differently, right? And hitting you hard. But here in London, it's not the case because in London everyone is a foreigner. And my friend likes to say, he's from the UK and he says that this is the place of a nomad because everyone is coming and going, and I guess this is why this place is comfortable to be part of, I guess.
Yeah, I just remember I have an article for the people who just came, and it just came. There was 10 advice for the people how to go through the adaptation process comfortably. So if somebody wants it, they can claim, and I will send it over. But there is one advice that I'm giving that came to me now when I was listening to you. I advise people to actually say out loud to other people that I'm foreigner.
Really?
Because,
I thought about it.
When people scare to say foreigner, people scare for judgment, people scare for rejection, and I don't know, and they also think, if they break some rules, they will come across and, I don't know, arrogant or something. But imagine it, if you said, oh, I'm very sorry. I just came to this country. I actually don't speak very good English and I don't understand like what the protocol here. Can you please help me? Can you teach me? Can you you tell me what to do?
That's amazing.
Like most of the people, like 99% of the people will want to help. And actually like think about if somebody say, tell me about your country, what is, I don't know, best things about your country, you start talking about it.
You start talking, absolutely, yeah,
you want
definitely.
to share, people become proud, people want to
Yeah.
share. So if you say, I'm foreigner, I don't know about it, can you tell me? People usually like, it's natural, they'll like become very
true.
proud, like, oh, I tell you now, you know, you need to do that, you need to do this, let me show you, let me help you. And instead of having an awkward situation where they think you might be rude because you're not following certain protocol and you feel afraid, you know, you build in a relationship, you build in a connection.
It's really about transparency, right? And open communication. And you're actually absolutely right because until recently, I really avoided the word immigrant because I never saw myself as an immigrant because like I came here to study, I came here to work, all those things. So I really didn't see myself attached to this word in a way. But you're absolutely right. You should not be scared of this word because like you're a foreigner, you're an immigrant to the country and there's nothing bad about it. You came here because of something. You came here to study, to find a job, or maybe you came here with your partner whom you're deeply in love with. There is nothing bad to be just to change the country, really. So you shouldn't be scared of saying it out loud.
Yeah. This is one of the things we're also working in coaching is about how you, for example, perceive is the word, the word of immigrant.
Yeah.
Because you know you will act very differently if you're scared of this word or if you're proud of it. Look at this, like it's not easy to get British visa. Like in order to get English visa, you need to be certain,
Qualifications.
Like qualification. Your salary should be at a certain level. So this is also when we're shifting. Like, look, now although there was no really coaching, questions around it, but still, like even in conversation, you shift a little bit, your idea of the wording, and then probably now when you go outside, you will be like saying more proudly, "Look, I'm an immigrant." Like, cool.
100%. Yeah.
I own to be here. Like I own it with my education. I own it with my salary, with my skills.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Like that make you feel powerful.
Absolutely, and I think it's not just about the UK. It's about all the countries in the world, right? Wherever people are migrating, they should be proud because they have done such an impressive move. It's so hard. It takes balls really to move and change country, even to change the city, because like even changing the city is still it's internal migration, but still it's immigration because you're changing your environment, you're changing the flat, you're changing your group of friends, you're leaving your family, for example. You're still putting yourself out there outside of the box, and it's really brave. It's amazing. Thank you for that. I have never approached this word because I always approach it like with a pinch of salt in a way, because I didn't really want to associate myself with this word, but I absolutely changed my mind right now. Thank you for that. Yeah. It's amazing. If we come back to the questions about the coaching themselves, if the person is stuck, what is your advice?
If the person is stuck, well, it's always depends what stuck with. That is my job, is to ask a question. So the reason why I'm a little bit struggling to reply is because we're always goal orientated, right?
Yeah.
So we're always thinking about, okay, what you want to achieve. And then out of that, I will thinking about what sort of question I would ask. I give you one example. Mm-hmm. That is a trick that working very well.
Okay.
Sometimes people get stuck with some ideas, like with a certain fear, like, oh my God, I'm not deserve it, or I'm afraid, or something. Yeah. I'm not supposed to do that. And no matter how much I try to talk to them, asking them questions, look on the positive, right? They just stuck. They're like, okay, no. And one of the trick I'm doing, I will say imagine your child or your best friend, or by the time I usually know the person, so mm-hmm. I know who they care about. So I would say imagine your child coming to you and say, Mommy, I want this very much, but I'm afraid of it, or what should I do? Or I feel like I'm not deserve it, or, I will not be successful. What would you say? 99%, the voice of the person change. They start in saying completely different things.
Really?
They would start saying, like, of course, I would say I will be very supportive.
Yeah,
I would say,
that's what I thought as well.
Yeah, like, why is something stopping you? Like, you deserve it. Of course you can. Look at this. Let's find a solution. They become very supportive. They become very positive. And they're almost forgetting that they're talking about themselves. And then I'm just saying, like, so if you can say it to your daughter, why you cannot say it to yourself?
That's true.
If you can say it to your friend, why you cannot say it to yourself? So this is, for example, one of the trick I'm doing during conversation. Like, sometimes we cannot allow ourselves dream bigger.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, because we have some sort of limitations in our head, and we cannot really remove them in a way, because we feel that we're not good enough. Like you mentioned, you don't speak a good language enough, and just always something not enough. And this is why your barrier is somewhere there, but you actually can jump somewhere higher. And it's a very good trick. You just speak to yourself like you're speaking to a friend or a daughter, right? And just give the same advice to yourself. And let's say the person has migrated, and as a coach, the person comes to you, right? And the person says, actually, I regret doing this. As a coach, what would you do?
Let me think. Well, first of all, I will give my 100% support. Like, the person need to know that all the emotion is valid. There must be a reason why he or she feel regretting it. But then always, in the coaching, we're always focusing on something positive. So I would suggest look on the positive side. Shift, sometimes when you shift in the perspective, because people, it's very easy to focus on negative. And the more you think on negative, the lower you feel, and then this is where the regrets come from. When you start thinking about the positive side, what you achieve, what change, etc., you start feeling much better, and maybe the level of regrets going a little bit down. Secondly, we will look at why people feel regrets. So, for example, it could be the person will say, back home I had so many friends.
Oh my God,
oh my God, like I had all my friends from kindergarten, from school, from university, and here I'm alone. I so much regret here every day I'm alone. So then I would say, like, so if you had a friend here, would it change the situation? And then the client might say, well, yeah, like I feel alone if I have many friends. So what can you do in order to find out these friends? Where can you find them? What's stopping you from finding them? Why you not yet find your friends? So we will look at it. And then, the person can come up with a plan. Sometimes they too focus on being negative rather than say, oh, I just missing the friends, so I need to build a new friends.
So it means that this even negative situation, negative feelings, you can turn into some positive situation and some positive outcome, and the person even might think that the person, let's say, regretted coming here, and if you change the environment a little bit, the person might even like being here, right? Yep. So you can change the perspective just depending on how you look at it, right?
Yeah, this is a goal. And of course, if in the end person anyway say, yes, no, I want to go back, I mean, in most case, it's always an option.
Yeah, of course.
Yes. And sometimes people say, no, I cannot go back because then, I don't know, my friend or my ex-colleague will feel that I'm a loser.
I know
and
the feeling.
Is, and then is what we're working with. So you regret coming here for whatever reason, we find out this reason. You want to go back. You have a possibility to go back.
Yeah.
The only thing stopping you from coming back is because you're afraid that somebody say you're a loser. Oh, come on, let's work with that. And as soon as you stop caring about other people's opinion, maybe you just go back and be happy.
True.
So, yes, we're looking at the situation. If there is an option to go back, And if there is no option, then we need to change perspective and change, the emotion about the situation. If there is the option to go back, maybe it's time to go back. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. We also we should think about it, because there's nothing wrong in going back if you feel like going back, right? It's not you're losing anything. It's not that you're a loser or somebody's thinking that you're a loser. It's just the option. It's just the other option. You're just also going back to something that you had before, and there is nothing bad about it. It's just whether it's your goal or not, right? You have to understand what is your end goal. If you want to try and find work, friends, family in a new country, if you're ready for it, then absolutely that's the option. If you don't want to do it, you can always go back because you already have it there. It's also the option, right? So we shouldn't be like really limiting ourselves because of something that we have in our head, right?
You can go another country.
Absolutely, you can go anywhere in the world, really. Absolutely.
Yeah, the option is only in your head, honestly. And I truly believe you never a loser for going back, because you gain so much experience.
True.
You gain so much knowledge. You change as a person. So, I mean, there is no lost situation. It's only win situation.
Absolutely, yeah, because you can come back with improved language. You already understand a new culture, at least some elements of it, right? So you probably made some friends that will be your connection in the future. Probably you have had like an internship somewhere, or like you've been a graduate, or you had a bit of work somewhere. So you already have experienced something that you can actually contribute to your own country. And this is amazing as well. Why not, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. Actually, I have another question. What are the common myths about immigration that you would like to debunk?
Yeah. Number one, I hope you agree with me. I think the most common is that if you're moving abroad, the life abroad is always better. The grass is always greener.
Yeah.
And especially, quite often people go into the country where they think life is better, right? So it's quite common, I'm going back home to Siberia, and everybody like, what's your salary? Oh my God, you're so rich, etc. People don't really thinking about the cost.
Taxes.
People don't even thinking about the taxes. People just assume that if you move to Europe, you becoming a super rich person. But forget about all these sorts of financial things. Like people think you go abroad and all suddenly, I don't know, you become happier, you're making new friends, your career is gonna skyrocket overnight. But actually it's very much opposite.
That's
quite
true.
often you come in your country and you face so many challenges and difficulties, and you feel lonely, all this, as we discussed, career barrier. So that is a very, very bad myth that causes a lot of trouble. I wish people understand it much better the reality and the challenges before they move in abroad. And also, when somebody moves abroad, they could be more supportive rather than... so that definitely myth number one. Oh my God, nothing just come into my mind just straight away.
I think the one that you mentioned is the biggest one, really. The myth.
That's pretty big. Yeah,
that's one of that is the one that I'm also facing, really, because when I go back, people are asking like whether I'm like living in a mansion or like living somewhere close to the king or used to be the queen, and people are asking all those stupid questions, and like you're like, guys, hello, I'm also living in a real life where you have to pay like electricity bill, and like you have to go and take a tube, and you also have to pay for the food, and everything is so expensive, and it's more expensive than it's actually back home, and people just don't realize that, and they always feel that the grass is always greener, but it's apparently not. But anyways, I mean, it's a good experience if you have an opportunity to move somewhere and try to enjoy this grass. Why not? Definitely.
Yeah. I think sometimes people start even, changing the opinion of their own country. Like, because you move in, you see how the things, and in every country you have bad and good things. And we just like talking about quite often, at least in our culture, people like to talk about good things outside and bad things inside.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then you actually shift in your perspective and you start seeing all the bad things there and how good was something else. So
that's right. That's
yeah.
right. To be honest with you, I even have a friend. He's also from Siberia. We studied here together, and then he went back home to Siberia because he realized that London is not for him. Siberia is so much better because of the nature, because of the wide space, because again, family, friends, everything that he had there. But he just didn't feel himself here, and it's totally okay, right? It should be the message here that it's okay to feel that the place is not for you. If it's not for you, you can always change the place, right? You shouldn't be like really restricting yourself to the place and like, no, I have to stay here. I have to stay for like, let's say 5 years. That's my goal. But if you're unhappy at the end of the day, so what's the point of staying, right?
Absolutely. And that's what we're doing in coaching. Like, it's always a question, what do you want? What make you happy? What give you energy? What make you exciting, like find the real needs, find the real motivation, and try to completely, stop thinking about outside world.
Yeah.
Because people will always say something, people will always think something
about you, right?
About you.
Absolutely. Yeah. If we summarize what we've discussed today, I would love to say that, first of all, it's okay to be a foreigner. You should not be afraid of this word, and you should be proud of it, really, right? Because you're so brave to move and to change the country or a city. You should be proud of yourself. So you shouldn't be scared of the word immigrant as well, because this is the same as a foreigner. It doesn't have any negative implication. It's just the word. If you change the place where you live, you're becoming an immigrant, whether it's external immigrant or internal immigrant, right? Yeah. So also, if people want to change the perspective from regretting moving somewhere, it is possible, and you can actually change it to a positive perspective, because if you change the environment around you, you might start enjoying where you are, right? And you might start feeling happy. It's about just changing some elements, just some pieces of the puzzle, right? And it will completely change.
Yeah, and sometimes, it's not only about, and quite often, it's not about changing your environment. It's quite often just changing your thoughts.
How you feel, how you think.
Yeah. And how you feel about yourself.
Yeah.
So as soon as you feel I'm good enough, sometimes people say, I'm good enough, yeah. Okay. I am as I am. And then they feel relief.
Amazing.
So sometimes it's just about changing how they feel about themselves.
Good, perfect. Thank you, Kristin. Thank you so much. I think we had an amazing conversation, actually. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you for inviting me here. Great experience. Looking forward to see it online. Yeah.